Hey, it's James Lynch. We got some really unfortunate news regarding UFC welterweight Shavkat Rakhmonov. This video was making the rounds earlier today. Shout out to Octagon Update for grabbing this one. This is from a event that was taking place recently. NYSA, I hope I'm saying that right, NYSA 80. Shavkat Rakhmonov, we'll read the tweet here. It just says he was spotted at the NYSA 80 domestic league event. Looked like bro was in rough shape, and it just shows him here with a cast. It's not a very legible video here, but good find here from Octagon Update as well. And if you think this is, fake news or anything, it isn't. You can see the brace there. Ariel Helwani actually followed up and got some clarification from Shavkat's manager, Daniel Rubenstein. So we'll read the tweet here. It says, unfortunate news, Shavkat Rakhmonov re-injured his knee and had surgery recently per his manager, Daniel Rubenstein. Same leg that kept him sidelined for over a year. He's expected to be out another 9 or 10 months. Ariel then has a follow-up tweet here saying, Shavkat news is a gut punch. Feel awful for him. Remember, though, Dominic Cruz went through a similar chain of events and eventually came back and won the belt. It's not over, hopefully, but the division moves on. Got to do Islam Ian next. Nothing else makes more sense. So Ariel kind of giving his opinion, and I agree. I still think they're going to probably end up doing Islam and Kamaru Usman next. I don't think that is the fight to make. I think Gary or Michael Morales or one of these names needs to be in that conversation. But, as unfortunate as this is with Shavkat, and, I know I put on the title, his career over. I'm going to say no, because we have seen fighters, and this example with Dominic Cruz, certainly is possible that he could come back and continue his career. But it's just unfortunate it's the same knee that he's injured, and he has not fought since December of 2024. The thing is, he's going to be 32 in October. So by the time he comes back, he'll be 33. The last fight he had was at the end of 2024 against Ian Gary, a fight he did fight injured, which is why he didn't look as good as we're used to. Then you have to go all the way back to 2023 when he fought previously. Forget about the fact that it's been already more than a year that he's been out. It's the fact he still only fought one time in 2023. So if we're going back to 2023, which is almost, 3 years ago, he's basically since the end of 2023, let's say 2024, he's only fought twice, right? So that's going to be a long time off. So he will not be back. It's another 9-10 months. It's going to be out. He might get to fight this year, maybe at the minimum. But again, he's going to be close to 32 at this point. So really unfortunate news. The only thing I'll say that's a bit of a silver lining here is we'll hopefully have some clarity as to what's going on in the welterweight division, because we still don't have Islam booked. I know there's a bunch of accounts out there right now saying Islam and Usman is confirmed for the White House. I've talked to some people in the know. Nothing is confirmed. Nothing is official yet. It certainly looks like that's the way they're going. But with Shavkat out of the picture, I think you can start to do some matchmaking here. So if we go look at the rankings right now and we have a quick look at the welterweight division, obviously Islam at the top of the heap, Shavkat number 2, so he's out of the equation here. So you've got Ian Gary. Now let's assume they do Usman and Islam next, which is what I think they're going to do. You could do something like Gary and JDM. JDM still ranked number 1. You could also do Ian Gary and Michael Morales. There's a lot of options there. At some point, I don't know if this is the next fight, but I still want to see Michael Morales and Carlos Prates. That would just be an awesome fight. Still got Bilal in the mix, although Ian Gary just beat him, so Bilal's kind of, I wouldn't even mind them doing Bilal and Brady the rematch, right? That was a fight from a couple of years back. Brady can avenge a loss there. And then you've got like a bunch of names here that aren't booked. Leon Edwards, Joaquin Buckley, Gabriel Bonfim, Gilbert Burns, Jeff Neal's fighting Medic now. Colby, let's get him out of the rankings. He hasn't fought in over a year. And Daniel Rodriguez, like I've been saying for a while now, doesn't look like he's going to fight anytime soon. So you've got sort of this huge gap right now in terms of what type of matches they can put together. But let's assume for argument's sake, you've got Islam and Usman fighting next, so that takes care of that. I would go Jack and Gary, or Jack and Michael Morales, or Jack and Prates. I know Prates and JDM was sort of a rumored fight. Let's say that is what they decide to do with JDM and Prates. Then I would go Morales and Gary. That would make sense, right? Because I think there's an argument for both. Morales is undefeated. Ian Gary's only lost one fight, and it was a fight that was very close against Shavkat. Ian Gary's also very active, so totally fine with Morales and Ian Gary at this point. And then maybe you do Brady and, that's the problem. Brady's going to be the odd man out here, right? If they do Usman and Islam. Although you could do Brady and Buckley. That's a fresh matchup. And then Edwards can fight Bonfim or something. I think that would make sense. They're sort of building up other guys off Leon Edwards. So that's where things get interesting in the division. But yeah, you just feel for Shavkat, because I do think he's the best welterweight in the division. Islam is the champ, but I think number 2 would be Shavkat. And I think that matchup would be interesting just from a style perspective too. We've got Shavkat, who's 6'1" with a 77-inch reach. Islam, I don't think has the same reach, and he certainly doesn't have the height in that one. Islam is going to be a little bit smaller in that spot. So he's 5'10" with a 70-inch reach. So Shavkat would have a 7-inch reach advantage, 6.5-inch reach advantage in the fight with Shavkat. That could be interesting, right? I mean, we want to see the best fight the best. That would be the most interesting fight to me. But yeah, Shavkat maybe going to come back by the end of the year. We'll see. Again, you never know with these injuries. Nothing's like an exact science. But I agree with Ariel as well that it is a gut punch. Because I've enjoyed Shavkat. I know people gave him a lot of flack after that last win over Ian Gary. But again, he was injured in the fight. What if he was 100%? Would he have gone out there and finished Ian Gary? Would he have looked better? It would be very interesting here. So this is just part of the sport. I mean, that's one thing that I think fans sort of take for granted is that these fighters do train very hard. They, go out there and fight injured in a lot of cases. So, sometimes that's putting your career at risk, right? To certain points. So I hope he gets a speedy recovery. I hope he can continue his career. But realistically, we don't know where his career is going to go from here until we see him fully healthy. And also there's the concern of is that knee ever going to be the same after re-injuring it twice, right? We've seen football players, we've seen other athletes suffer the same injury and they're never the same. I hope we can see the old Shavkat because he's fun to watch. I mean, this is a guy that, does not go the distance often. He's going out there and finishing his opponents in most cases, right? We've seen a lot of finishes here. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I would hope now that this news is out, that the UFC starts to get booking some of these welterweight fights because I don't know about you guys. I feel like it's going very slow. I don't know why we don't have Islam's next fight booked. I get that they tried to put him on the card at UFC 324, but can't we book something after that and get this division moving? I feel like there's all these cards coming up that they have announced, but we don't have a lot of fights that have been announced for those cards. So it'd be good to see the UFC because welterweight, in my opinion, is one of my favorite divisions. So it would be nice to see them kind of put some things together here. Also, Michael Venom Page is a name that I keep forgetting about in this weight class. You could put him in that mix too. It does sound like he's moving back down. And again, MVP's only loss at welterweight was to Ian Gary, right? So outside that, he's performed quite well, and it'd be cool to see if he can make some noise in this weight class. Although the thing with MVP is he's a little bit older. So yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these matchups, really. This is what's so great about welterweight. All these fighters are interesting, right? I know some people maybe don't find Gary the most entertaining, but hey, listen, there's going to be people that want to see Gary lose, so that alone is going to make it interesting. Bilal Muhammad, let's see if he can rebound after a couple losses. Sean Brady, I'm really curious to see how he bounces back after getting knocked out by Michael Morales there. So these are all things that are very interesting. Like I said, Jeff Neal's one of the only guys that's booked right now. In fact, is he the only guy booked in this weight class? I'm kind of just looking at this right now. Unless I'm missing a matchup, I don't think any of these other fighters are booked. How crazy is that? It's second, they were coming up to February. We don't have any of the ranked welterweights matched up against each other. It's pretty crazy. So yeah. And then just quickly, before we get out of here, let's look at some of the comments on here. Morales makes sense. Truly sad. Would definitely be champ if it's not for injuries. Ian battered that leg. He deserves it next. I don't know if Ian was the reason that that happened. And then we look at some comments here as well. Some people want to see Usman fight next. I think majority don't want to see Usman fight next. Am I wrong about this? Out another 9-10 months. So yeah, we won't see him again. I hope not. I hope people are wrong. I hope he does continue his career, but I don't think there's a guarantee, especially when you injure the same knee, right? So really tough there for Shavkat Rakhmonov. Wish him a speedy recovery. Hope he gets back. One of my favorite fighters to watch. Really unfortunate news that has come out here today. So I want to know what your thoughts are in the comments. Do you think his career's done? Do you think he'll come back better than ever? What are your thoughts on this? Again, none of us here, I assume, are medical experts, so we don't really know exactly what is going to be happening with Shavkat going forward, but he is fun to have in the division. And again, with him being injured on the sidelines, hopefully we can get some matches made in the welterweight division. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.